and stuff through the yard.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
We always start with complaints. Lord, you push a button and things just don't go on. Anyway, how y'all doing out there? Hopefully everybody's good. Everybody's great. Everybody's well. At least okay. I'll take that too sometimes.
Take okay.
Especially with all the storms and the stuff there in the middle of the country, the tornadoes and whatnots. So y'all look out for each other out there. We get rain. It's like 9 degrees outside up here, so it's lovely. I love it.
Is it cold up there right now, Johnny?
It's 52 for the high, and it rained literally all day. Well, Oregon rain is like sprinkles. It's not like a downpour. So it's, and we went all around the world in I today. So it was, I loved it. I loved all of it.
Oh, send some of the rain my way.
All those storms pushed warm weather here. We got up to almost 75 today, which is unusually warm.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's freezing here. Yeah.
It's winter there.
Winter, aren't you?
Just about. It's getting there.
We
and Australians always fight it. It's like every winter, oh, no one told me it was going to get cold. You know? So,
I guess you're used to the heat, I suppose. Well, at least some of y'all are.
you do.
But I can't. I hate it. I complain the whole time. Now, mind you, collectively, it's like hot 1 month here, collectively. Because you'll get 2 days here and a week there and 2 weeks here and then a week there. And that's it. But I still complain.
No,
I like seasons. I do like seasons. I like the weather changing.
That's when you don't leave the house for the air conditioning. Like, no, sir, you can't do it. Look at the weather. Oh, 90 something today. No, I'm saying.
When I grew up, there was no such thing as air conditioning. No one had air conditioning. So you'd sit with your feet in a bucket. Awesome. Homemade aircon.
Here we don't have any because at one point Pacific Northwest didn't need any. And now all of a sudden it's like 102 in the summer and you know, you're got your ear to the door to see if the ice cream man is going by or something, but it never happens.
Well, you have to run for the ice cream truck. It keeps the weight off while you're eating all that ice cream.
And unless you finally catch them and you do like I do, and you buy like 8 because you don't want to come back out again, and then you eat 6 one day, and then you do have to go back out because then you're technically running low. That was my thing. Bomb pops all the way. So we're not doing food talk right now. I don't know how that goes on this channel here.
You started
it. I did. It's okay. Do you have any announcements, Jen?
Sacred Sounds of Coffee Friday on my channel at 10 a.m. with Gail. And I have appointment openings for readings or reading/healing in September. So you can go to my website, Jen Lynn Tarot.
Lena Rodriguez, Tarot Down Under. Any announcements?
Not really. I won't be reading for the next few months because I'll be running around. But I just wanted to share my new T-shirt with everybody. One of my Pacific Islander nephews is a construction worker. Well, a lot of them are, but he sent me this T-shirt. I don't know if you can see. Oh, and it says, Johnny, you're sabotaging. Oh, thank you. Record profits are unpaid wages.
Awesome.
And I thought that was awesome. He's a union guy. And it says in the middle, will strike if provoked.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's for sure.
And they have to work in the heat. God, we moan about the heat sitting around, but God, those guys work hard, man.
And DeSantis just got rid of like they did in Texas, the heat protection.
The heat rule.
The water breaks.
To where you don't have to give them water breaks in 110 degrees and humid. And the southern humidity is not like anything else in this country.
It's gross. It's gross.
It's suffocating.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get it. I get
No.
it. I
And
don't
that's what unions should be active around those things, like
protections because those in charge do not care as long as you produce.
no.
If you
That's
produce, then keep going.
I say put him out in the middle of the road and let him sit there all day with no water break.
With his
Yeah,
cinnamon
and then
boots on.
let's talk.
With his little white boots on too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And a hard hat.
Mhm.
Mhm. And all you get for your break is a pudding cup.
Yeah.
No spoon.
Jack-o'-lantern. I don't have anything, do I? No, tarot class starts next Sunday, the May 5th class. Yes, Sunday.
Cool.
The announcements have already gone out, so if you haven't got yours, then you're not invited. But no, let me know. If you have paid already and you have not gotten your link, let me know because I had a cross wired there. I have to say this: Mercury retrograde was not very kind to me.
Okay.
And it wasn't technology this time. I had the worst attitude on earth. I'm surprised I don't have a felony right now. I had the worst. I literally turned the phone off and put it in a box and put it in the closet. Literally. Because I'm like, somebody text me and I had the most visceral reaction in the world. I'm not this person.
Right. You just want to.
Because they asked me for something or to do something or something. And my mind went straight to, you don't even ask how you doing, hi, how are you, or you're okay today, how's the weather, do your feet hurt, nothing. You just start asking people. And so I'm like, wait, who is this person? Close this down, please. Just take a deep breath and come back to this.
I found it affected my speech. Like I've stumbled over my words for several weeks now. I just can't spit them out.
I had words, but none of them nice. And so it was like, okay, we don't need to communicate with people right now. This is something else is wrong. And then everybody was like, well, the Uranus and Jupiter and the stars and the moon conjunction. I don't know nothing about that. I just know I ain't with it right now. Okay. That's what I
Yeah, that's right. But you
we're
don't
all good today.
know all that stuff. It's just really handy to know about the Mercury retrograde because it affects everybody.
Being my ruling planet, that's the one I really care about because it jacks me up.
That's it. You don't need any more.
But okay. Speaking of aggression, Michelle Herczeg, Herczeg, Michelle Herczeg, Herczeg, was the Secret Service agent that was removed from Kamala Harris's detail for getting into fistfights with other Secret Service members. Apparently, she used to be a police officer, and she sued the police department or somebody in the police department for harassment and sexual harassment and discrimination and the whole gambit, because she said she wasn't promoted for this and she was assaulted for that, and she was so forth and so forth. And so what they were doing in that little article, I see, because it was stating the facts, but it seemed to still be a little bit skewed to this person is a little, not crazy, that's a bad word. She's confrontational with everybody she comes up against, type of thing. But I mean, it may be the other person. You never know. But
because they like to paint women that way, right?
Yes. But in this instance, she literally attacked another Secret Service agent. And so what I want to know, because I don't know what's going to happen to her now, but I want to look at her future course. Like what's if you were doing a reading for her, what should she be looking out for? What's going to happen? Is her career over? Because this is pretty public.
Yeah.
So does she need to maybe, dye the hair blonde and change her name and get a new career, or what does she need to do?
Did it say what provoked her? Like what the other person said?
But I didn't write all that down, and that was like 5 days ago. but they were having a disagreement about what to do or something she didn't want to do, something to that.
Yeah. Okay.
But it wasn't nothing that you needed to fight over.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? I know you don't want to get the coffees. Boom. You know, okay.
But she actually hit someone, right?
Mm-hmm. I believe it was a man.
Mm-hmm. I can go if you like, John.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. These cards are not marvelous for her, I have to say. I mean, normally, particularly when we've only got half the information and all of that. But I'll just say, okay, so she rules in her own lunchtime. You know, I think she has very strong ideas of herself and her self-worth. But I think the damage was done in childhood. And now she's very confused with these responses. You know, I'm not saying it wasn't the most irritating guy in the world, and I'm not saying, you know, I wouldn't want to punch him out on a bad day. But the point is, I think she's confused about this, and she gets the devil and the hostage cards. So that's why I'm thinking this is a pattern, and she's got issues.
Well, let me fill this part in, because that makes a lot of sense. Readzzz showed up to the terminal and began acting erratically, grabbing another senior agent's personal telephone and deleting an application on it. The other agent, the shift leader, was able to recover his phone and then acted as if nothing happened. And then her bizarre behavior didn't stop. They said she literally snapped. She began to mumble to herself. She hid behind some curtains. And then she started throwing items at them, including menstrual pads. And then she said they were all going to burn in hell and they needed to listen to God.
Yeah, this is mental health stuff in extremis. Yeah. That's what I mean.
I think she may end up, you know, like they may come after her legally and you know, indict her. You know, here's the guy, like for assault and battery or something like that. She still has friends, and she still has new opportunities. But she's got a long history of being combative. So there's definitely a screw loose, and I get the devil too. I think she's going to be put in defense mode, but I think she's also going to be offered another job somewhere else. So maybe put her behind a desk or something where she has some people that care about her. So I would tell her, you got people that care about you. Get another job. Get ready. They're probably going to take you to court. I don't see her having to go to jail or anything. I think she's, you know, maybe get fined or something, but she's got another job coming. She's got somebody in her corner that will help her get somewhere where she'll maybe not be so stressed.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that?
She's got an issue with a man or several men, because I get the man, the son, and the crossroads. She fights a lot with them, or there's abuse or something sexual there with the whip, and then it ends on the lilies. What happens to her career? It's almost like she's going to be separated from a lot of men, but there's something here perhaps about therapy to manage anger and aggression.
Yeah, totally.
Because that's fighting, abusing, criticism, sex, you know, and then there's therapy. So some sort of therapy to, you know, and this could be kind of like what card is that in the tarot? The Two of Pentacles, where it's kind of like this, not balanced. So I see her having issues with men and having to get some sort of therapy for that anger stuff.
I think somebody gives her a lot of mercy, at least for right now. Whether she takes it or not, we'll see. But there's your trying to manage anger right there with it's the strength card in this deck. There is the need to overcome. However, she has a lot of work to do. Hangman, 8 of Swords. She has a lot of perspectives that need changing, and a lot of her limitations come from abuse or childhood, something like that.
Totally.
To Lena's point, she's got a deep scar, and because she's combative with pretty much every man she meets, probably, and so she has a deep scar, and I think somebody will give her a little mercy and grace. Because I think she was in the military, and then she was a police officer, and then she was a Secret Service agent, if I remember correctly. So she's always in these sort of boys' club type of jobs, and then she ends up fighting with some of the boys. We'll see, or we'll not. Well, speaking of fighting with the boys, Marjorie Taylor Greene. What do you say anymore?
John has no words. He is truly speechless. He is.
Yeah, it's a rare moment. Take a screenshot.
She's not normal. That's what it is. Anyway,
She's the girl that can't stop. She's like Trump. She has no impulse control at all.
Yeah, no.
She's a female Trump.
She's a crackhead, and she doesn't know. I've said this before. Like, don't worry about Russian tanks and bombs invading the country. They invade through the politicians. All you got to do, money is the thing that invades everybody's country. We pay people for other people's country. They pay them for ours. And there's a guy in the GOP now worried about Russian propaganda talking points. Yeah, you think so, huh? Anyway, what I wanted to know, though, outside of her fight with Mike Johnson and all of that, will she be a leader on that side of the government? I don't want to say GOP because I guess she has a completely different mentality than somebody like a Mitt Romney. So would she be a right-wing leader at some point, since she's setting herself up to be so polarizing?
So like the MAGA leader?
Like a leader like that. Because maybe she wouldn't be a MAGA person, but she could form her own little MAGA type thing.
Okay.
Will she be a leader or will she go away? But we'll see.
Yeah. Oh God.
She's one of those people, like, if you try to say, no, you're wrong about that, she's gonna double down she will not back down, just like Trump. She's gonna double down.
And you're an enemy forever, from that point and all that.
And you're the stupid one, not her. She's a narcissist.
Not you tell me about, Oh wow.
Take it.
Oh, these are funny. Using the term funny loosely.
What'd you get?
Well, I moved to the circus cards,
You have to, don't you?
And here she is. So far, she's been part of a bigger act, if you like. Like, I'm sure they all roll their eyes every time she gets out of a seat too, right? But she's been part of a bigger tent, and they've made do. But now here comes the Page of Cups with a message just for Marjorie. Like, here she's in the picture. Now she's not. Okay. But justice, so I think there's going to be a legal problem with her. She doesn't strike me as one of the most corrupt members around in day-to-day rulings, but there's something legal. So I think it's procedural legal. Someone saying, actually, you cannot say that, or there will be consequences, something like that. And the world, speaking for the world, we are all so dazzled and exhausted by this woman's second hand, But this is also the Republican elephant. I think she's worn them out too.
Mm-hmm.
She
Fox
never
News called her an idiot. Who called her an idiot the other
It's
day?
another smash and grab headline.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't actually do any work.
No.
She's not unlike the last lady we just read on.
Yeah.
So there's issues, whether it's from childhood or whenever, but she's going to continue to try to manipulate things. But I get a lot of people are walking away from her in the government. She's coming on too strong in the Republican Party, and a lot, and some of the ones leaving are probably because of people like her.
Yeah.
She still has support from some of her messaging, but ultimately she's going to lose, and that's going to get highlighted. I guess she's going to have a legal problem. So whether it's Jack Smith, because she was at the meetings before January 6th at the White House, she's in on some thievery and sneaking around stuff. So I think she's ultimately going to end up in court, but right now she's just all about her image, and her image is just to keep combating.
I get it's a bit of a mixed bag. For now, all the lies that she's putting out puts her in a position of leadership. The other side of that coin is because of the problems that she creates, a lot of people are moving away from her. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So I asked if she would be in a position of leadership. Not really,
No.
because the many move away from her.
Yes.
If that makes sense. But in that small little faction of the people that just want chaos and disorder, she will be able to carve herself out.
The Gosars and the
yeah, but people are moving away from her. So
yeah.
I get 2 of Pentacles first, so there is some balance issues that she can't maintain balance, of course, at least not mentally and emotionally. But with her co-workers, the people that she would need for support, there's an imbalance there, because there's a 4 of Pentacles. There may be some sequestering going on. I don't think they have the courage to tell her out loud, we don't like you anymore. And so it's like, hey, let's hold a meeting and then not tell her where it is, type of thing.
Yeah.
Or it starts at 5 o'clock and it's actually going to start at 3
a.m. There's the 4 of Pentacles, and then there's the 5 of Pentacles. And so they are quietly sort of taking away support and going to leave her out in the cold, type thing. But again, I don't think it's overt. I think they do it quietly at first, because the people who already told her she's an idiot have already said it. But they know there's no real consequence because they weren't friends in the first place. It's the people like the Matt Gaetz and all of those people who would smile in your face and then stab you in the back the moment you turn around, type of thing.
But the thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene is that she's just like Trump as an opportunist. You know, she was all buddy with Matt Gaetz until he went against Kevin McCarthy, and then she forgot all about that friendship for like a whole week. You know, so she's an opportunist, you know, so
well,
and not leadership material, you know.
No. Can you imagine
limiting leadership? Let's fall off the cliff. Yes, I'll follow you right off.
I'll say it again for the millionth time. If any of us behaved the way that she does in Congress at our jobs, we would be fired
Yeah.
immediately. You know? But,
Well, speaking of fired, you guys read last week on the Huckabee, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, if she would get in trouble for something. And I think both of you got, and I was pulling with you, that she would not get in trouble for this, but possibly something else. Then it turns out that she had a couple telephone conversations about hush money payments. And I want to know what would happen with that. Is she going to get any legal blowback with it? Because these people don't never get in trouble. I mean, well, actually, they do get in trouble. Trump doesn't get in trouble. Will she get any legal blowback from the hush money conversations that she may have had, allegedly?
I had to pull another deck out. My deck got sticky on MTG. That fishy itchy kitty.
So Sarah Huckabee sound.
Oops. Oh.
Well, well, these are a mixed bag too.
Oh.
So the first card out for me was the Justice card, and I thought, yippee, you know, like, go for it, Sarah Huckabee. But she has a victory legally somewhere, probably because in Arkansas or wherever she is, her father still has power and influence, and all of that is the vibe here, because it's right next to the good life and having connections, you know, in that way. So she'll sort of slither through that. But then someone is going to be very dogged and determined and keep going with her. You know how Sheldon Whitehouse, bless him, has been following the money in the Supreme Court. No one notices or cares or asks him anything, but he keeps going. And there's someone who's, I won't say had it in for her, determined to take it further. And out of the blue, that takes her out. So I think there's this sort of time delay, winks and nudges with judges, you know, and then something down the track.
Yeah, she's had some handshake deals and email things. She was an inside person that was looking at things that were being planted and trying to secure them and lock them up. And I get DOJ's going to come after her and take her down. There's gaslighting involved with this, but she's going to get burdened because she bullied somebody to do something. I get like betrayal and taken out and indicted, and she's a thief and she gets the tower, and yeah, God bless you, woman. You got a rough.
For the hush money stuff, no. I gotta know that she's not in any legal trouble for that. Here's to me hoping I totally screwed up that read, because I really don't like that lady at all.
She'll be arrested by the fashion police. Yes. And the face police too. And you know, I don't like to call people ugly, but there is a 7 of Pentacles. There is something built up. This is like records, or it's not always financial, but it's like something. It's documented though, so maybe like a back and forth with somebody, like a conversation about hush money.
Yeah.
There is, however, a problem within the government because the word of warning is the Hierophant. However, it's not under the current administration of whoever this is. This is not necessarily Biden. This could be Merrick Garland. This could be the AG in Arkansas. This could be the AG in New York, or whoever in New York would bring a case, or whoever in Arkansas would bring a case, or whatever. There's some sort of change in leadership in this in particular government position. And then that's when you get the judgment card. And so something is then dug all the way back up. And then whoever it is very persistent about such a thing. They're very dogged with it. That doesn't mean they catch her and then that's what inbreeding does. Oh, Lord. We won't do Arkansas like that. But this person is very persistent, very, very dog with the bone on this one. I don't know if they'll necessarily get some sort of conviction or anything like that, but they're still going to go. We're going to hear about it again. So whatever her legal troubles are will haunt her again at some point in the future.
I like her about as much as Christy Nome, the puppy killer.
She's over now.
She killed a puppy.
And
It was
she'd
a bad
already
hunting
had the
dog.
dog on an electric collar and all that crap first. Ooh.
She's a
Was he
sadist.
South Dakota? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, Sarah Huckabee's okay. Elephant in the room now. A whole bunch of people got indicted in Arizona. Did y'all hear?
A lot. 18 or something? A lot.
And
lot,
one of them was Giuliani, apparently.
Again. Again.
And Jenna Ellis, his best COVID case.
Yeah, the one he
Mark
started on.
Meadows. They're bigger names now, along with some we don't know.
Mm-hmm. Why? And people are still lining up to be on the Trump train.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Not
Johnny
only
Clement.
does it derail, it's burst into flames, it turned into ash, and now you're rolling around in the ash saying, "Look at me," you know.
I'll be different. I'll be different.
I'll drain the swamp.
With a straw. That's it. Okay, well, and it's probably very broad, but what lies ahead for Giuliani and his Arizona indictment? Just in
Because they haven't indicted Trump yet.
No,
he's unindicted conspirator one.
Number one, I'm sure.
He gets the number one spot.
I wonder if they're like, okay, when is this New York thing going to be over?
Yeah, tick, tick, tick.
TikTok, TikTok.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, Mike Roman, I'm reading in the comments. Christina Bob, Boris Epshteyn, Kelly Ward,
On the list.
GOP chair for Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Who just got put at the RNC in a leadership election fraud leadership role, and she got indicted for election fraud. Can't make this stuff up.
They have cases in 81 states, says Lara.
Yeah, well, that's true. Lara's onto it. She's across all 81 states or whatever she said.
I saw
Finger on the pulse.
I saw that and I was like, we have 81 states now. Who are
Don't forget the state of Manhattan.
There was somebody in one of the comments that said, who was it? Was it Jimmy Kimmel that did that or something? That said Tennessee, 11 a C, 12 a C, 13 a C. We'll get there. West Virginia, North Virginia, South Virginia.
Yeah. And the Dem ads just have to be mashups of all these bloopers.
They don't have to make nothing up. 81 states. What lies ahead?
Yeah. So this is Giuliani, yeah?
Yes, what lies ahead for Julie?
Oh, back to the circus cards, yeah.
Well, yeah, sounds about right.
So Trump's going to get indicted in Arizona too, the loser, for manipulating the election there too. So that's coming down the road. These guys are toast. It's like all the whole network of them. It's all, they've got all the notes on the planning of it and everything. So it's just a matter of time. They're all put in defense mode, and there's going to be another investigation that comes out of this too. But yeah, judgments on them. Some of them are going to jail. Lucy, come.
His age will just protect him, probably, in that sense. Can I go, Johnny? What?
Yeah, you go right ahead.
Yeah. The Republican elephant. I love these cards for the Republican elephant that keeps turning up with different faces and actions, Yeah, right. This is one of however many. This is how he's feeling on your average day on the sword of nails. Right? And if he speaks or moves, the anvil comes down on his
Trump sitting on his chest too.
Yes, that's right. Then, this is the king of wands here, the distraction tactics. Come in, look over there, that sort of stuff, which isn't working because, as Jen just said, they've got the paperwork, they've got the notes between them all. And, doesn't look comfortable. It's like virtually a stake in the heart. I mean, how is he still functioning and walking around?
That bed of nails probably, that mattress probably came from My Pillow Mike.
My Pillow, Mr. My Pillow mattress.
Talk about another person. Like, just put him somewhere to get some mental help.
And you know what's incredible about this whole thing? I have the birds, the cross, the bouquet, the letter, and the coffin. What's incredible about this whole thing? These people thought it was a genius idea to film themselves committing a felony. Like, who does this? Who does this? The whole meeting. There's evidence there. You ain't getting out of this one. You're not. You're done. You're done. There's nobody coming to help you. Nobody's coming to offer you a little letter that says you're innocent. No pardons. No, you're done. Like, yeah. I just want to. Who in that group of people thought it was smart? Let's film this whole thing.
Well, this is groupthink, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, we know with gangs, and that's one of my research areas, actually. Okay, gangs are capable of much worse behavior than any one of those guys in the gang, right? It's a gang mentality. It's just these all had law degrees. And that's what I
was about to say, Lita. It's like a lot of these are lawyers, Clark and Epshteyn and Giuliani and Jenna Ellis. They know when they're breaking the law. They know it.
Yes and no. I mean, obviously, yes. But if you go back to the gang analogy thing, instead of bandanas, what they're doing is they're putting their legal brains, particularly in the early days, I think, they get on the bent train. I can be so smart, I can find a way to do this here. And another one's just as competitive. You think that's bad. You wait to see. Look, I've come up with this killer argument here.
And get away with it.
I think there's that competitive criminality going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're just, lawyers who weren't in touch or just thought they'd push the envelope. I think it was a game.
They have to recognize that they're bending the law. They're breaking the law. They are consciously aware that it's not legal.
So maybe that's why they filmed themselves. So at the end of the day, all the bets that they took, look, my idea worked. No, my idea. So that's why they filmed it.
I think they just fell into this demented state.
They're sharing their brain through osmosis. Though. It's like I touch my brain cell.
Yeah.
If I touch you, then you get some of that too, and then just touch the next person, and we'll all share one thought, and then screw it up.
Thank you, Ernie's mom.
Thank you, Ernie's mom. The 10 of Wands is how it starts. What lies ahead for Giuliani Burden?
Yeah.
The 10 of Wands, for those learning tarot, this is not the worst card in the world. It's if you get it for yourself, what it's telling you is reassess because you are carrying your current load the wrong way. There's a better way to do this. However, it's still 10 of Wands. And so it's still going to be heavy. It's still going to be a burden. It's still going to be a headache. It's still going to be a pain in the butt. But you still get to re-strategize to make it a little easier on yourself. Work smarter, not harder, is what the card is saying. But that is if you have the insight of someone telling you that. See, because that man is never going to make it walking like that.
Yes.
And so you have to re-strategize. Put them in a bundle, put it on your shoulder, put them in a barrel, have somebody help you, whatever the case may be.
Split them up.
Exactly. Because he didn't get them all at one time. And so it's like you can split it up and that. But
he can't see where he's going because he's got the bundle in front of him.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
He's gonna trip and fall, and
he's going to fall. He's going to fall. That doesn't end well. That whole scenario.
Yeah.
Because we've all done it. You try to walk up steps and you got keys in this hand, the phone in this hand, and a coffee in this hand, and a bag in this hand. Something flops, something falls, and then next thing you know, you say all the expletives you possibly
cat gets in the way, and you trip over him carrying your laundry up the stairs, and next thing you know, you're on the stairs picking up the laundry and yourself.
Not the cat. Don't blame the cats, Jim. But the 10 of Wands, it's not a bad card if you have perspective. Do you think he has that? No. And so it starts with the 10 of Wands and ends with the 9 of Wands. So he's going to stay in this current energy because, mind you, I didn't see this coming. I didn't see this coming. Now, mind you, we always saw he had more trouble on the way, but I didn't see this Arizona indictment at all, which tells me that he's got a lot more stuff that is still unfolding. And people are still looking at this and reading that document and filing this court thing and filing that court thing. And as someone said in the chat, not waiting for the DOJ. They're just going at it. Here you go.
The swing states, all the swing states that they were trying to finagle with. I think, didn't Michigan indict a bunch of fake electors? And,
yes, it did.
So,
but also with Giuliani, he's been on the other side for a long time. You could say he cleaned up New York by bringing in the Russian mafia, entertainment only. It's just a point of view. However, there's evidence for that. So I think all of this, he got carried away as being the senior guy to all of it. But, you know, when he kept and this was only recent, he kept hassling Shane Moss and Ruby Freeman way past the use by date, just vengeful, petty, misogynistic, filthy behavior.
Racist. And there's one thing that everybody knows about Giuliani is he is a racist. He did the whole stop and frisk thing in New York.
That's my point.
If you're here and Trump's here, this is going to happen. It's like they don't realize you're going to get flung into it. You're just going to be flung like a catapult. They can't stay away from him, though.
Yeah, but he's not young. He does have a heavy drinking history. He's legendary, so I don't know how long he'll be with us. But they seem to go on, these guys, you know, your nice old Pop drops dead at 56, and these guys go on forever. What's that about?
Say it's hard to kill Henri. It really
yeah, that's it. Very
Mitch
Texas.
McConnell will not roll over on his shell and not get up. I just it won't happen.
Mitch was on Face the Nation or something this morning, and he was talking about, like, he wouldn't talk about, you know, Trump or anything. Like, I think he knows Trump isn't going to win. He is talking about, we have to get the Senate back. We have to have the majority, and that's all he's focused on.
Yeah,
and
so
who's going to replace him being...
So that Mitch McConnell can continue to erode the thread of democracy we have left, because
You know what would be a really good idea? If we could train Mitch McConnell to be a hunting dog and send him to South Dakota. I'm just saying, but I'm not saying.
Just saying.
Okay. Speaking of races, Mississippi, mind you, Mississippi just celebrated Confederate History Month. Now, it's been on their books since 1993, so it's not new. And like 7 other states have the same thing, Alabama and all the ones you would suspect, Florida. But the way our media works, especially now with social media, is they will dig up something from 430 years ago and then circulate it so it trends forever and ever and ever. And then it becomes a bigger issue than it once was. And so what I want to know is, since the Confederate History Month was trending and people were talking about it, what usually happens in these situations is people start to hate it all of a sudden, even though it's been there since 1993. And then they put pressure on people who do business with, in places like Indiana, when he signed the Religious Freedom Bill, and they said, hey, okay, I'm not coming here, I'm not doing concerts here, or we're moving our plant out of here, or something like that, unless you reverse this. Will the Confederate History Month thing have an economic effect, or negative or positive, on Mississippi?
Mississippi, which is the poorest state in the country, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't have far to go down economically.
Yeah. They already were giving all their welfare money to Brett Favre, and now this.
Yeah. In Jackson, Mississippi, which was one of the few, because it's mostly little bitty towns, one of the few bigger cities that had something going economically, they screwed up their water.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who would want to
what's
work for
happening
somebody?
with water everywhere in the state, drinking water is another thing. Flint, Michigan has been a backdrop to half my life, and I'm Australian. Has anything happened to correct that? That would be no. And now you're just hearing one after the other after the other. So where are we? What are we doing? Sorry. Oh, the Confederate
It would
month.
have an economic effect, an economical effect on Mississippi.
I'm getting it already has. In the past, already has people that feel things differently, see things differently, and taking their businesses and wrapping them up and moving on. They're definitely going to go through a crunch, a downsizing economically.
which is sad because Mississippi is one of the poorest states in the union.
Yes, I said a minute ago, it's like
the poorest, Johnny. Exactly, the poorest in the entire union. But
And
please
with
tell us how
that-
big the Confederacy was. Go ahead.
Exactly. And when you have one stat like the poorest state, all the other stats are sleepers: worst education outcomes, worst health outcomes, worst maternal death. It all goes together.
Yeah.
and it all goes to Republican states.
Yeah.
It all
Yeah.
follows.
Yeah. Well, are you ready, Becca? Do you want to go?
No, go ahead, please, Lena. Go ahead.
Okay. This tells a story without a single Pentacles card. Interesting. Okay. King of Cups, that is often my Biden card, but not here. What it's about is all this stuff is driven by emotion, not economic sense, not planning, not anything. It's just emotion. Okay. So look at this. The burden card that we just discussed at length. Yeah. Oh, and just in case you weren't sure, you know how to grind down every economic opportunity that might have survived this fantasy. they will go with you-know-who, i.e. the Yeti or the Bino. I love that. Someone came up with billionaire in name only. Wish I'd thought of it first. But here he is. They'll saddle themselves to him. And what's the future of Mississippi? Oh, okay. This is the economic future. It's like they cut their own throats with this stuff.
Speaking of Mississippi, not only are they the poorest state in the union, what tiny little bit of social programs that they have, they really like to embezzle and fraud that stuff with.
That's right. They cut them or they steal them.
The poorest of the poor. Let's steal from the poorest of the poor so that Brett Favre's daughter can get a tennis thing put at her school, when all they had to do was hold a fundraiser with all the fancy wealthy people. No,
racial inequality, when you drive through that state, it is just so obvious in the housing, not the racial inequality, the financial inequality, the financial inequality, the have and have nots. It's like on full display just in the housing.
Well, it's the story of America, isn't it? I just think the rest of America disguises it a lot better. And the dynamism of the blue states keeps the economy up enough. So, it's less obvious.
Yeah.
We just have a surplus.
This is really a crude example of what happens. Yeah.
What'd you say, Johnny?
So we just had a surplus here in this state.
Yeah.
Meanwhile.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. All the Republican lawmakers who very happily take money from the blue states to shore up their red states because they're all poor, want to sit there and talk about government handouts. Well, then stop taking our money so my taxes can go down.
Hello, why
exist before the end of the year?
Exactly. Exactly. And Dems don't use that argument, and because they're too polite. But Gavin Newsom does. Gavin Newsom goes for the jugular. Let's just talk about the distribution of federal funds, will we?
Yeah. They give nothing and take everything. But then sit there and tell me about welfare queens and all this other stuff. And here's the thing. If it wasn't for all that federal money, they wouldn't have money to be stealing from every time a fancy rich person wants to take from the poor, But anyways, their economy, but it's not just local businesses. Business owners, small business owners might have problems because I get the fish. That's more like your entrepreneurs, small business owners. Also other businesses coming in. But there are a lot of problems with the bill, lying, and then here's the bills that are going through. What I think this does is raise awareness, because I get the key and the anchor. It raises awareness in Mississippi, and people become more aware of what businesses are supporting this messaging, and maybe some sort of boycott or something like that. It just raises awareness to this whole situation, and it does have an impact on their economy, local. So,
because to have a treasonous, traitorous flag in your window, on the back of your car, in your front yard, speaks to your mentality. I don't even need to talk to you to know who you are.
That's right.
There's burden with the 10 of Wands, and this can be alleviated, but why do that when you could do stupid things? There's the 9 of Swords and the 8 of Swords. So will this have an effect? Yes, it will. And there will be some concern, but at the same time, who's fixing it? It's already destroyed. It's like I said with the Trump analogy, the train has derailed to the all that It's going to continue that way because the leadership is corrupt. And that's here. So there's that.
Yeah.
But speaking of corruption, why is it that Donald Trump will not go after the Pecker? He gave a damning testimony, but he gets no tweets, he gets no emails, he gets no letters in the sky, he gets no chance, he gets no nothing, no lock him up, no, he's horrible.
He's gone after Stormy and Michael Cohen and everybody else that's testifying, but he hasn't said one bad word about Pecker.
He won't go after the Pecker. Why not?
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's mysterious, but I'd love to know. I'd love to know. It has to be good. Has to be good. Why doesn't he go after Pecker?
Because he ain't helping you on the stand. He does have immunity, though, so they can't charge him. So he's being very open and honest.
Well, that'd be a first, wouldn't it, for him?
Trump has a Pecker issue.
And see, here's the thing, too. Because, you know, you're right. All of you are right because all of you are pretty much saying the same thing. Is he knows all of Trump's dirt, but so did Michael Cohen.
Yeah.
And where are we now? Michael Cohen testifying, and so is David Pecker. The people who held your secrets, but he didn't protect Michael Cohen. So why not?
I think the difference is, is it okay if I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I get the fish, the crossroads, the man in the middle, followed by the book and the stars. So he knows all of Trump's secrets. What does he know? The fish and the crossroads. His business stuff, and I think that they've had business dealings together as well. That may not be on the up and up. Because the man has knowledge and he's keeping secrets for Trump. He's keeping these secrets.
I agree.
This is the thing. This would be how money is being routed to certain things too, or how money is making its way and then it's being hidden by this man. So not just that they've had business before, but Pecker knows about business routes or roads that he's trying to.
There's dark money involved.
Mm-hmm.
There's money laundering and dark money involved. Yep, a lot of money. Yeah, he knows all the inspirations behind Trump and everything he's manipulated with money. So he holds the strength. And if Trump, tried to be combative with them, he could produce evidence. He's got like documented evidence on Trump is what I'm getting. So Trump is kind of like blocked from attacking him. He knows that he would lose. He's got more things he could publish and he could end up having more legal troubles. He's got inside dirt on him. I agree.
And I think this is a bit gnarly here. I think he really worries Trump, like not just pisses him off, worries him. Now, it's like they've almost got a karmic connection. Back in the day when they were both the young bucks in Manhattan, so it was like all of that. And sure, he has dirt, there's no doubt, but it could affect both of them. In other words, Pecker doesn't want, it's not quite as straightforward as you go for me, I've got dirt. I think there's another dimension, which is don't make me do it because it's going to take us both down and other people, which is what you were saying, Becker, about money routes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm just going to sit on this story right? Because otherwise we all go over the cliff in the same car.
And also with the, if I may, the fish and the crossroads and the man, that could also be money that was funneled for the election via different routes that they're trying to, that may not have been on the up and up. Do you see what I'm saying? So
donations to the super PACs and all that may have come from Russia and places.
Mm-hmm. But what I don't understand, the National Enquirer is a tabloid magazine, correct?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that the only thing that he owns? Because how could he possibly be a millionaire from selling tabloids about woman gives birth to alien baby? Like, I mean,
because it's everywhere. Every supermarket, everywhere. You multiply that over 360 million people.
I just never thought
every dollar store, every Walmart, every grocery store, tens of thousands of stores.
Exposure.
Huge circulation.
I mean, yeah, but I understand what you're saying, but it's just like, is he really selling that much craziness? Like, that's what I don't understand. It's like,
from the person in retail, let me tell you, yes.
I would never look at a tabloid by the checkout that says woman gives birth to alien baby, and I'd be like, let me grab that because that sounds legitimate.
Like he said, it's all about the cover. It doesn't matter what garbage is in. It's all about the cover. So, like his smearing Hillary just on the cover, people that couldn't even afford to buy it or whatever, they saw it at checkout and it sticks in their head.
It's pure propaganda for that visual hit. And you've got your bags of groceries and you stare at it for 3 seconds. It's in your brain. And sure, your brain then goes, oh, that's rubbish, dude. But it's in there.
He's been sued how many times, by celebrities and stuff. But, he makes enough money that he doesn't care.
And in a way, this is where Rupert Murdoch started. The crappiest newspaper in the UK. And it had a few things going for it. It always had bare breasts on page 3. You were known as a page 3 girl, so, right? And the best sports section in the back of the paper, because let's face it, most working class men read the paper from the back. Okay, so they had their sports, they had the titties on page 3. You've got them. And then he would plant all this anti-union, anti-worker, anti-everything stuff. And they're not reading those articles, but it's going in.
Deb Z just typed in all his other publications he owned too, Becca. So it wasn't just the Enquirer.
Because in my head I'm like, how can a trash magazine? It's just trash. I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking, how many lawsuits has the Enquirer had for just straight up defamation? You know, this is stuff I don't know, but I would imagine so. If that was your only source of income, like how in the hell, clearly I'm in the wrong business,
Totally, doll. Get those alien babies out there.
Get the 8 of Wands and the 9 of Swords, troublesome conversations. The 9 of Swords, very worried, very stressful. I heard that Michael Cohen is the knife in the back and David Pecker is the hand that could push it in. And so there is something to his approach, the things he holds, or his status within their corrupt group, to where he does have a lot of sway, a lot of power. There's the 8 of Swords and the 10 of Cups. He's not that he's protected in the group or the family, but the things you can say to him and about him are restricted. They're very minimal. And so, because mind you, he knows Donald Trump. Who else does he know? Who else does he cover for? Who else did he kill a story for? Who else did so forth and so forth and so forth? Elvis can only be alive so many times on that magazine cover. Who was supposed to be there? You say, oh, Michelle Obama's a man this week, and then next week it's Elvis, and then you go back to the Obamas or something, because you know, maybe this politician slipped the right note under the door type thing. So
how many stories, bad stories, could he post on Trump? You know, because he knows all better.
Protected, if you will, because he has a reach within their group necessarily. Which leads me to my next question. Will he have any legal troubles? Well, I guess that's kind of broad. If you want to put a scope on it, you can. But are there any legal troubles coming David Pecker's way?
Let's have a look.
Well, in this case, he's got an immunity deal, but it doesn't mean somebody couldn't go after him.
Al Capone killed half the world and went to jail for tax evasion. So it's like, if you want to get him, then you'll find something.
Yeah, like state indictments, because these are federal indictments, aren't they? I remember it.
Mm-hmm. Election tampering.
Campaign finance violations, election tampering.
And old-fashioned libel and all of that, you know. But they don't seem to... This is where it's a sealed unit in a way with this sort of crude tabloid stuff, isn't it? It's like if I was upset because they said something about me, I probably couldn't get it through court because everyone would go, it's only News of the World or it's only New York Post. They sort of get protected or something, you know.
And not to mention, does the average Joe have the resources to go up against somebody like, I mean, look at what Trump does. He ties everything up in the courts. Most people don't have those sorts of reasons, you know.
Hey, Pecker is so corrupt that he could shine a light on everybody else. Like he constricts everybody else. So the one victory is that America now sees what his image is. But he's got so much power and so many partners and so many, you know. No, I don't get any additional charges for him, but I do get, it shines the light on Trump, and he'll end up probably with more indictments out of this.
Yeah.
I don't see Pecker, based on the spread, in legal trouble for this. For the catch and kill story, what I do see is there's going to be a bit of a delay, and then there's an investigation into the tabloid itself because there's a sale. I don't know what that is. It's a delay, then a sale, and an investigation into the tabloid. So I don't know if the Fox is here, very weaselly and conniving. I don't know if he's trying to weasel out of this and maybe sell the company or something like that.
That's interesting.
But isn't he retired now? I thought he was retired.
Yeah, but I mean, is he still the CEO of it? Is he still making money?
Can someone let us know in the chat? Is he still the CEO?
Or has ownership of it or something? Because it's like there's a delay.
Maybe on the board.
He doesn't own the magazine.
Oh, he doesn't own it anymore.
It's delay, and then business with the fish, and then the Fox, fraud. And then the letter and the moon, that's the tabloid. So
maybe looking into the sale when he did the sale of it.
Maybe, because there's something fishy there. There's fraud. It says business fraud and fraudulent records on the tabloid.
Yeah,
so
there has to be. You know, it's a filthy industry.
Yeah, maybe it was the way that it was sold, the terms on the paperwork. I don't know, but that's what I see.
Well, what I got was sort of a mixture of those in a way. I'm not seeing any legal stuff for him now. In fact, he gets, you know, Happy Days, The Good Life, you know, Temperance. You know, like these are all cards of comfort and ease. There's a bit of a strategy out there, which is what you're saying, Becca, might be coming, because here's the delay. So I'm hoping what all these indicators, he thinks he's got away with it. He sold it. He's sitting pretty, wealthy guy, got immunity. Life is sweet. So let's hope after the delay, something happens.
I don't get anything legal either. There is the Seven of Cups and the High Priestess, though. So there's a lot of cloudiness and confusions and a bunch of stuff to look at. And then there is the Devil. So there's a lot of secrets and a lot of devious things. So it's more reputational to where a lot of his dirt may come out, because that would be a karmic thing there for you to be the dirt mag. And
Yeah, I love that.
So there's a lot of dirt coming out about his past and what he's done and so forth and so forth. But there's nothing prosecutable, I suppose. It's just a good click and read the article thing while you sit in the airport type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Todd Blanche, we read on him. This is the guy who had the successful law practice in Florida. He used to be a Democrat, and now he's a Republican. And not just a Republican, but he supports Donald Trump. He's Donald Trump's lawyer as well, too, or one of, I should say. He was also the lawyer for Boris Epshteyn, who is now indicted there in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And he has dropped Boris Epshteyn as a client, he says, because now that is an adversary. And so he cannot be his lawyer anymore. Because mind you, Boris Epshteyn and Todd Blanche knew each other. And then Boris Epshteyn introduced Todd Blanche to Donald Trump.
Oh, really?
And then Todd Blanche represents Donald Trump and Boris Epshteyn, and then drops Boris Epshteyn in favor of Donald Trump.
So, but wouldn't that be unethical though? Because now you have a client that's turned witness against your other client, so you can't possibly represent.
Well, he's not representing them both anymore. He dropped Boris because he said that's now an adversary. So I want to know is what lies ahead for Boris Epshteyn now that he lost his high-priced attorney? Because Todd Blanche he's according to his friends, he's like, the cream of the crop when it comes to lawyers. And so now they've gone in separate directions. So now that he's lost his attorney, what happens next?
We're reading on Boris.
Mm-hmm. There with the Giulianis.
It's a shrinking pool, isn't it? It's oh.
We have to get the student lawyers from Sweet Valley High to come see if they can represent you in court.
Giuliani can't even represent himself anymore. His law license was taken away.
Yeah. I think the US is going to be down 100 lawyers by the time all this is over.
And then what's her face got indicted too, Lena? Not Alina Habba, the other one that was another one of those Newsmax lawyers. What was her name? I can't remember. Not Alina Habba, the other one.
Bob.
Yeah, Bob. Christina
Bob.
She got indicted in Arizona.
Yeah, I love that because hadn't Trump just made her his ethics advisor? This week she's up for fraud.
You can't make this up. It's like irony is dead.
Make it up.
Irony is dead.
Oh God. Look at them. Oh, things aren't pretty for Boris, I have to say. Look, look, the 10s are getting a workout today. King of Swords, he's going to get a replacement lawyer, obviously. But there's only so much you can do when your client is caught with the smoking gun astride the body. You know, like there's not much you can do. You can get them a little bit of wriggle room, Your Honour. Perhaps, you know, we'll just allow this. There'll be a bit of a softening of the thing. But the walking away, I think there's going to be more lawyers walking away because there's a pattern. All jokes aside, the system is now eating up these lawyers. They've let them run for 3.5 years, and they've been sitting pretty with, you know, whatever they do when they're sitting pretty. And now they're losing law licenses and all of that. So I think his own lawyer will leave.
Yeah, they're all fighting each other. You know, it's like, okay, you either turn on somebody or you're fighting them. Yeah, it's just crazy. But he's an inside guy. I get he's talking to all his old school friends. I don't know what law school he went to, but hey, you know, talking to his classmates, look it up in the yearbook.
Yeah, it's like that.
He's dialing for a lawyer. He is literally, he's quite emotional. He is dialing for a lawyer. He's going back to his school days. Any contacts he's got, he is looking for help. And his legal problems are just, I mean, it's going to get worse. He's put in defense mode. I think he's going to end up in jail. And I think he's going to have some, like, won't be able to pay people. I think he's going to have some bankruptcy issues or legal fee issues. And dial a lawyer.
I get the child coffin man ship and fish. He knows he's not going to be found innocent. Innocent is dead. You know what I mean? He's not, at this point, he's just going to transfer to a different consultant and perhaps try to minimize the damage of
that's exactly what's
the
going to
mess
happen.
he's in.
Yeah.
But he just transferred to a different consultant, you know, someone that's independent. But yeah, it's just a matter of minimizing the damage at this point.
But he better hope whoever tries him last and wherever he ends up in jail is more of a cush jail than a Rikers Island.
Try Groupon, see what happens there. But
maybe George Santos could be your lawyer. I'm sure he probably can do that.
He invented law, so I mean,
he invented law.
That little statue of the person holding the scales is actually him. There is a man, there's jail with the 8 of Swords. There's a new fight, though, with the Ace of Wands and the 5 of Wands, and it is just to find someone to represent you. But this is the upheaval, and this is just part of it, actually. And as I always say, if you trace the tower back, you will see where you went wrong. And so this is not finished, though, because it comes with the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is slow and methodical. But it's also something I think here, especially with that Ace of Wands at the beginning, this is at the end, is this can be over, but something else is going on at the same time. And so I don't know how many other cases you got or how many other charges you're going to have or something, but something else.
Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. We know those 3 haven't gone yet.
Yeah, word of morning is the star, which means your future is going to be clouded with this type of stuff. And so there's something happening now, and then there's streams of other things happening in the future. So whenever you get to those points of interest, you're going to need another lawyer, which is why I said Groupon. You may need a team of them.
But there's still, this is what irritates me. There's still this schism between white collar crime and street crime and blue crime. So we've got Sidney Powell and all of those. I mean, yes, they can be publicly shamed. Yes, they can lose their law licenses, but she's retired, got plenty of money. It's not balanced with what happens with working class people, Black people, Hispanic people who cannot afford these sort of lawyers, let alone a busload of them. It's this million miles apart.
And another thing is the whole situation with bonds. A lot of people go to jail because they can't make a bond.
Exactly.
And meanwhile, all these clowns that tried to overthrow the government are just running around doing whatever because they have the money to pay the bonds. And then if you're a Donald Trump, you have the money to gunk up the entire system.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there needs to be some serious reform to the justice system because, like you said, there's a huge disparity between the haves and the have-nots. Most people can't afford to do what these clowns are doing.
Exactly.
So,
and this is serious stuff. So if you smash a window and grab a television, look out. But if you try and steal the country, oh well. Yeah. We'll just talk about it.
The Supreme Court, we'll take it to the Supreme Court and we'll think about it. We'll let you know.
We'll get back.
I think we should have more meetings and talk about can a president pardon themselves, which isn't even in the case.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they were so full of it.
Sorry, Johnny, just before you go on, I love this in the comments. MAGA stands for my assets got auctioned. Love that.
That's going to happen. Netanyahu has an arrest. Well, May.
I'm going to sit this one out, Johnny.
There is the International Criminal Court is apparently throwing a arrest warrant out for 3 different people. Netanyahu is one of them, to be tried in The Hague. Apparently, over here, there may be some interference trying to stop such a thing from happening. Do we want to crystal ball it and see if there will be an arrest for Netanyahu to be tried in The Hague?
Well, they did the same to Putin.
They're not going to go get him, but an arrest warrant.
They did the same to Putin, and they can't get him. Putin only travels to places he's protected, like North Korea, China, Saudi Arabia, Iraq.
No, I don't think so. These charges will be about his ruthlessness and other things here, but I get the 4 of Swords and the Emperor, and followed by the 8 of Cups walking away. I think he's going to walk away from that. But a lot of these things are symbolic. It's still on the international record. Okay, it's about, like we were just talking about, who gets away with stuff and who doesn't. So I see him walking.
Yeah, I get they're waiting to go after him right now, kind of laying low about it, considering it. Yeah, they're considering it, but I get a no. These are no cards for me. I get a no, because they're, like it or not, there are some things that were a security issue for Israel too. So it's like it could go either way. So I'm getting a no. It's a both sidism is what I'm getting.
Emperor, 6 of Swords, he skates on. So I want to know the future. It's not nice to laugh at people's pain. But luckily, I don't have to be nice. This is my channel. The future of Truth Social. Because, thank you, Suzanne. It has gone from worth this to worth nothing. And Devin Nunes is he's
the mastermind.
Yeah, because he's the CEO of it now. Left the government to go work for Truth Social. And now he's saying that people who are the grassroots donors or investors, not the people who are the billionaires, those people are upset because, their money is being played with and they're blah, blah. He's trying to give them the victimhood thing, and saying it's somebody else's fault and not Donald Trump's. What is the future of Truth Social?
Yeah, because they have some co-founders suing Trump and other people, and
Yeah.
it's a pump and dump stock situation. FTC or whoever investigates that could be looking into that.
Truth Social lost 58 million last year.
Was never a multi-billion-dollar business.
Multi-million-dollar business, meaning multi-million losses.
Yeah.
Well, the stock took it up over several billion, and then it started tanking. It went up to like 6 billion or something at one time.
Yeah. And of course, it hasn't finished tanking because it's based on fairy floss or cotton candy, as you guys call it. Cotton candy, Truth Social.
For Truth Social.
Flashback.
What's the Mueller report mean?
So what you got, Jane? I can go if you want to.
Yes.
Okay. I think this is talking about the investors. They're a bit damaged. They've had a bit of a knock around, but they insist on being the willing sacrifice with this. Where do I sign still, even though they're losing their trailers and everything else from it? They willingly, open-eyed, went into this. Now it's a burden all round for them and their lives, the investors. But if we look at it as this being Truth Social, it's becoming a burden actually, because it's embarrassing. Its stats are embarrassing for those who watch them. So you've got this mum and dad investors who are struggling, but this is the organization. No one knows why. No clue. With this moon card, I think it'll be sent into receivership or something like that. The unwanted offer, here's 25 cents for every share. Cash out or go home,
Yeah, I think there's going to be an investigation into them, and they're put in defense mode because there's massive cover up here. Trump's directly involved in this, and there's a lot of communication and stuff with people overseas. So I think there's a lot of overseas investors. Those investors, I think they'll like cash out and run. Like they're going to make a bunch of money, and then and run away and everything, and then indictments are going to come on the people that are here. So yeah, they're going to have legal problems. There's very strong corruption in this company, very strong.
Yes, like everybody.
What's it mean for it? Goodbye.
Truth Social, ultimately, a lot of trouble. The foreign people look like they're okay because it's ship and bouquet. They look like they're going to be fine. It's the domestic people that are small. So like the little people that are doing $20, $30, $40 or whatever, they're the ones that are going to get hurt the most. But overall, not good. Not
and
good.
Some people have put their 401k in it.
I saw this one thing the other day on Twitter where this guy was like, I lost my entire life savings. He said that he put in like over $450,000. And I don't know, it's social media. It could have just been a whatever.
Yeah.
Was making it up. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. But
how many people will go and take money out of their 401k thinking that this is a good investment only to get left holding the bag, and now you're broke? Have fun working.
What kind of idiot would take all of their savings and put
In
into it.
anything.
In any venture, it's like, no, you do a little bit of your savings in an investment. You don't.
A Trump supporter. That's the same kind of person that would eat dirt that's poisonous.
Yep.
That would drink pee. That would do the things he said do that make no sense in any other circumstance.
That are also
He
okay
never
with a
tried to do that
dictator.
in any other circumstance until he said it. And then
was
you would
never-
take stuff that you confused and you took fish cleaner and your husband died and you didn't. And so those are the type of people that will take their entire life savings and give it to a person who doesn't need it.
That are
And
okay with the dictator on day one.
the same people that it never crossed their mind ever to drink bleach, all of a sudden drinking bleach is a great idea for a disease you told me is not real.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Lavender flavor.
You know?
There is the 10 of Wands and the Chariot. So burden when it comes to the teamwork and trying to pull everything on the same side. This is going in two different directions. And here's the problem too with things going in different directions. If they're this far apart, it's easier to put them back together. When they're this far apart is when it becomes an issue. It's like, so and you're out the frame at that point. And so this is something that's going to continue to go down because I don't think it was ever meant to stay up in the first place. And so with the 9 of Pentacles and the 8 of Swords and the 5 of Cups, which is loss, grief, and regret, and Donald Trump, oddly enough, it is one of those things where this is going to continue to go down. And then there's the Devil and the 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords is thievery, and the Devil is the devil. So if you put all your money in it, you lost all your money. Congratulations, you win Stupid of the Year. Okay.
The Lisa in the chat, I guess that guy that I saw on Twitter that said he put $400 and something thousand into it, she's saying that same guy is really upset. Yeah, and he's having to go back to the workforce at the age of 76. But please,
There's some people who are still in the workforce at age 76 because they didn't have $400,000 saved up to
Totally.
retire.
I was quite surprised by the amount too.
and here's the thing: are you going to go vote for Trump again in this next? Or
That's
did you learn your
right
lesson?
there. That one right there. Are you
This is
still
the
going to
thing
vote?
too. There's so many ways you can lose money, right? Lots of ways. You know, gambling addictions, drug addictions, bad marriages. You know, sexually transmitted death.
A healthcare emergency here in America.
Oh, of course. Exactly.
William Barr is endorsing
But
him
this-
again. Ron
this has
DeSantis
his
is
name.
endorsing him again.
On the marquee, you have bought the DJT stock. So what I'm waiting for is watching how the Yeti tries to bypass that. It actually wasn't his idea. He had nothing to do with it. It was someone else in the night. The
Well, now
DJT stock.
he's trying to sue the investors because he doesn't want to give them the money. I mean, the whole thing is a mess, you know. But it's like people like this, like that guy that spent his whole damn savings on a clown and a fraud. Are you going to go vote for him again in November, or did you learn your lesson? You know, like
Good question. Because you can't assume he wouldn't.
yeah.
It
Like all these
could be the
morons.
swamp that took all his money, not Donald. You know?
All these people that ended up in jail for January 6th, even the ones that got misdemeanors, are you still going to go do the same thing again? Or did you learn your lesson? That's the $1 million question I have. So
Well, speaking of the swamp, Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, Bert Jones, is under investigation. Thank you, Lynn, for the fake elector scheme. He cannot be prosecuted by Fani Willis because she supported his rival in a fundraiser or something like that. So the man doing the prosecuting is named Peter Skandalakis, I believe is how you say his name. Will this investigation lead to charges? Now, I wrote this question last week or Monday. I don't know if he's been charged. Let me look it up. Bert Jones.
what's his name again, Johnny? Bert Gums? Jones. Okay.
And he was assistant governor or something.
Lieutenant Governor. Oh, he still is.
Ah,
lieutenant governor of
Of
Georgia. As
Georgia.
of right now, he has not been charged. He's just being investigated as of right now.
Bert Jones, Georgia.
Facing an inquiry.
Bella's all playful tonight.
Oh, this goes way back. He's been at this game for a long time. Okay. I get the High Priestess, so this is only the latest. This is the last few years of something that goes back, right? And it went really well for years and years and years, whatever other deviousness he was involved in. But now, sun is shining on the Ace of Wands about the Three of Pentacles, about the dirty money. I then get celebration. So I'm thinking this will play out as it plays out, but he's not going to get away with it. It'll keep moving. With this Chariot, I think there's movement in this case. But legal
I get
stuff
a yes. He's going to get indicted. Yeah, this is my he's toast card. Like they're done. Yeah, this is the completion. Like I heard he's toast. He is steadily involved in the planning of this. So I get they've already got the information, victories in the recent past. So they've already got everything on him. They're just waiting to indict him. There's something else they're looking at and considering. So yeah, he's going to be out in the cold because I get it's coming for him. Big yes card. He's going to have regret.
At the end of the investigation, there will be the arrival of charges or an indictment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get there is a conversation about the Six of Swords, about taking him from troubled waters to the calmer ones. So maybe like an agreement to testify or a plea or something, or some sort of, you help me and I won't prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law type of thing. There's something there. There's a conversation about him getting to safety. And so there's something that's already, I guess, built against him. And then there's the Two of Swords where there's some sort of decision that someone has to make that's not him. And so someone may try to offer him some leniency of some sort, because there's the Queen of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. So I don't think he's going to get the book thrown at him, but there's a case against him already. Now this Peter Skandalakis person, those who have, I guess, an affinity to want to criticize people that are maybe in his position, they brought up the cases that he failed to convict the person that was on trial and all those type of things. And the most notable one was a police officer who killed an unarmed black man or something of that nature, and the police officer was found not guilty, and so people went crazy about that type of thing. So his name is in the middle of that because he is now the person who should be investigating and possibly bringing charges against Bert Jones. So I guess we shall see. The lieutenant governor of a state involved in fake elector scheme. You don't have to invade a country with tanks. You really don't. You just need money and influence. That's all you need. Speaking of money, though, Donald Trump is charging people for his likeness. So if you use his likeness in your campaign, you got to pay him. Which, I mean, okay, you got to do that for almost anybody else, I suppose. But at the same time, you want these people to support you. And they know that they're going to use you as their banner flag because they're going to get your crazy weirdo supporters. But you want some of their money.
You want your party to be the majority in the House and Senate so that they can help protect your ass. And yet you're going to charge them money.
But you won't use the RNC's money to support none of those people. Like,
he's too stupid. He's too stupid. He thinks that he can win the election, fire all of Congress, fire the entire
yeah, that's right.
That's how stupid he is.
Yeah. And that's what people say, oh, you know, political this and that. He doesn't have a political fiber in his being. He can't hold a strategy from 9 a.m. to 9:05, right? You know, he cannot do it. And this is like, oh, we'll just charge them. That's a great idea.
No, and he doesn't even know how government works.
No, still no clue. And we're not talking highbrow, not understanding the complexities. We're talking basic stuff.
The basic Constitution. Read it once, Trump.
No, he can't.
That's too many words.
No.
That's too many words, and they're too big. Give him a Denny's Child's Menu with some crayons.
And I ain't even going because I hate reading too, so I can't even criticize.
They can watch the How to Pass a Bill video from School of Rock or whatever that was in years ago. Yeah, the childhood.
There's this meme out there right now, though. It says like it has, I think, Carter, and says something about he was in the Air Force, and has Bill Clinton and he went to Yale, and it has Obama and he went to Harvard, and then it has Trump and it says he can identify man, woman, and camera.
That was his IQ test that he's so proud of, Johnny.
Oh my God. Actually, I didn't have a question on the charging people for the likeness. I just wanted to bring that up too. But I do have a question on another member of his family.
Ooh.
That's Lara Trump, the one that he forgets now and then.
Horseface. That's what they call her. That's what they called her before they got married. That's what Michael Cohen said, that all of them, Donald Trump, Ivanka, all of them used to call Lara Trump Horseface.
I thought the best joke last night that Colin Jost did was when he heard Lara Trump singing, he said, I never thought I'd say this, but that's one member of the Trump family I'd say stick to politics. She can't sing.
Horseface.
Yeah, that's what Michael Cohen said on an interview on Midas Touch. That
you sure he wasn't talking about Stormy Daniels?
No, he was talking about Lara Trump. That they all referred to her as Horseface. All the Trump kids.
And is she?
That's what Trump calls any woman derogatory. I mean, that's what he called E. Jean Carroll.
But why would you have to be mean to her? She's in your freaking family, man. Your goofy son that looks just like you,
Johnny.
So, where is she? Is she? She's not Don Jr.'s wife. She's
Eric's wife. Mm-hmm.
Well, what I wanted to know was the question is she going to need a lawyer? So what's happened is she has said out loud that she already has cases ready to go in 81 states.
Try to say that with a straight face, Johnny. Try to say that with a straight face.
I'll give you 55. If you say 55, I'll give you 55 because of the territories. But don't ever say 81 states. I'm pretty sure she meant counties, but she said states. They have cases ready to go in 81 states about voter fraud and election fraud, that type of thing.
She apparently ate some paste in school too.
They're doing the whole thing to where it's already rigged before it happens. You know, this is rigged against us, that whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which means to me that you are planning to tamper and have election fraud because they are the kings and queens of projection.
And Johnny, if I may, Mark Elias did a video the other day because what they're planning to do is training poll workers to handle people's ballots. And he's like, that's illegal. They cannot do that.
That's Project 25's idea. They want to do that.
setting that up, which is a federal crime. So I guess we didn't get enough people in jail 4 years ago. Let's throw some more in.
But here's the thing about the timing of it. I'm hoping. We've all been complaining for nearly 4 years or more, actually, about how long this has all taken. So I'm hoping Arizona, Georgia, in these cases, they're going to coincide with the election. So at least people can't forget about them. So even if you're being groomed as a fake elector and you hear that the 11 others here and there are actually going to jail 2 weeks ago, you're more likely to think about it.
Yeah.
There are always people who'll do it. You know, there are
and just like Sidney Powell and Chesbrough, you know, like they pled guilty, you know, so.
Yeah, but people sort of don't register them. They're more likely to register. They can sort of identify on some level with in the booth election workers because it could be them and their sister-in-law.
Right. My point is some of these are going to plead guilty before the election to try to get a lighter sentence.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what was the question, John?
My question is, will she need a lawyer? Because she's setting up too also for election fraud or tampering, I should say. And so will she be one of these people to dive off the cliff into Lake Trump and ruin her whole future because she followed the man with the smelly everything?
It's nice to see.
Sorry, I vagued off. Is this Lara Trump?
Yeah.
Lara Trump.
Yeah.
Will she need a lawyer?
She and Eric have 5 kids that are going to grow up to be stupider than a bag of hammers too, because their mom thinks there's 81 states. I mean, come on. Another generation of stupid Trump kids.
You can't make this up. You can't. I wish it was a joke, but no, it's for real. So when there's days when I feel dumb, all I got to do is look at the Trumps and go, at least I'm not dumb.
Einstein.
I'm a genius. I'm a genius.
Because it's not about education as such. Like my dad didn't, left school at 12 or something, but he was one of the smartest men I knew. It's not about college education, and they've managed to come through expensive educations. Really, these schools should close their doors in shame if you've had a Trump group. Lara Trump. I've been meaning to read on her for a while. This is a treat.
For ear assault? That's funny.
She's toast. Yes. She is going to need a lawyer because there's like gaslighting, and even though she's trying to act like she's all strong and everything, she's going to get an offer she doesn't like. She is going to get the crap burdened out of her, and it changes everything. And I think it's over the workers working on the votes, betrayal, and maybe blocking people from voting. So I get, she's going to transition into a big old court case, and that's a yes. And it has to do with tallying votes and counting votes and electors. She's in trouble.
Well, these cards are not kind to Lara, I have to say. She thinks she's the Queen of Wands. Yeah, suddenly she's got national coverage, so she's got a platform to reveal her in-depth understanding and worldview
of election law, because she's a scholar
of election law, right? Okay, yeah. And this is sad, but this is the Empress in the sense it's her job literally to expand her. I hope you're not eating, Becker, because you'll spit your chips.
No, put that back up. That looks like one of the garbage pail kids.
It's of where she's going. I would say it's possible Lara has started emotional eating for the stress behind the scenes.
A gluttony for corruption.
I know. And she's trying to tie herself in knots to please daddy. He's surrogate daddy. You know, the hideous father-in-law is surrogate daddy. I mean, so pathetic. So 9 of Wands, I think 9's are nearly a 10, nearly the end. I don't know if she'll even be there in November, particularly after the 81 states. Okay, yeah. It's a bridge too far, I would have thought, for most Americans. And future for Lara, 5 of Pentacles out in the cold, because they don't look after their own, you know. She's blown it, so now she's a source of ridicule in the family as if she wasn't already, you know, like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Maybe she's going to try to split some of the blue states so that there's a red state and a blue state.
Or maybe she'll have another baby. She seems to do that every time she's bored or at a loose end, you know.
I have a question. I don't know. Because the question was, is she going to need a lawyer? I get a yes.
Oh,
when they lose the election. There's the election, there's the loss.
Yeah.
It's going to arrive. Which brings up my other question. After Trump loses the election, and he can't get back into the White House to go on his revenge tour and exonerate himself and not go to jail, and they have completely bankrupted the entire RNC. Oh, and by the way, they've lost every election for the GOP because they have no money to fund these down ballot people. What happens to the RNC? Because it was a takeover and it's a private entity. So were they willingly taken over? And how do you get that back from a loser that's going to be a convicted felon?
Mm.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, what happens to I mean, by all means,
who doesn't have the money to get it back anyway?
Mm.
You know,
what properties he has, Letitia James is going to take.
No, but the RNC is a private entity. It's a company.
Yeah.
You know, it's an organization. So when he loses and he's a convicted felon and we're just waiting for him to go to prison, what happens to the RNC? Because they're going to be bankrupt with no leadership. And according to those cards, Lara's going to be needing a lawyer herself.
Mm.
You know, so which makes me think with all the shenanigans the RNC is doing, everybody that's running the RNC is going to need a lawyer. You know, so it's
true. All jokes aside,
true.
They're
all going to need lawyers. So what happens to the RNC?
Well, my prediction off the top of my head would be once they lose, then the bloodletting will begin. You can imagine how they're going to turn on each other.
Uh-huh.
And
what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to cut the head off the snake then. Because Lara Trump is not the leader of the RNC, but she's the leader of the RNC. Mm-hmm. Because, oh boy, whatever his name was, I forget, you're a figurehead. The Trumps are in control of this thing.
Yes.
Because you're going to do what they tell you to do. We just can't put her right here for whatever reason. So if you want to get rid of the influence, you have to get rid of her and the Trump influence. What's going to happen to the RNC is they're going to continue to support them because you have implanted your people in the RNC's leadership.
But
to cut the head off the snake.
They fired everybody else, so they're all MAGA.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, all those people are going to end up needing lawyers themselves because they're all on board to committing crimes. So they're all going to need lawyers too. So,
I think she's going to need a divorce lawyer as well because the Trumps are going to turn on each other. So they're going to. Why not blame Lara? They never blame whoever's responsible, really.
Yeah, exactly.
I get the Hierophant and the Ace of Swords. This is challenged by the Ace of Swords, I should say. So she has some sort of loss within the government there, so she will not be able to win her election fraud cases. Keep in mind, to Becca's point, you have to pay to challenge election results. And if you're going to do that,
We have no money, Johnny.
are you going to do that in all 81 states?
I think maybe only 60 or 70.
They had 61 cases last time, but that wasn't states. That was cases that they lost.
I don't think they have the money to take it up on all 81 states, Johnny. I really don't.
She gonna need a lawyer then. Okay, last question. A lot of people asked, how did Melania's birthday go? Because apparently her husband was in court. He was in court because he cheated on you 48 times while you were pregnant. Had a relationship with the Playboy bunny and a porn star, and paid them.
Complaining that he missed your birthday.
He
Paid
missed,
them.
he missed
And
their birthday,
what did you get for your birthday?
not because of the affair. It was the felonies he committed to cover up the affair. That's what a genius he is. You know?
Yeah.
Well, while she's pregnant for 9 months, he's having a relationship for 10 months with a Playboy bunny.
And here's the thing, that saying about never, if you're the side piece, never marry the guy because he's gonna end up with another side piece. Perfect example.
Exactly.
Because she was side piece number 3 or 300 that he ended up marrying. So I don't think she's, me personally.
My whole question was, is she even, how can you be upset? I mean, you can be upset because that's still your feelings and you still have the right to feel how you feel, but you got him by cheating on him with that. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. She was the mistress. She was mistress.
Yeah, but I think we're all overestimating Melania's emotional world.
Yeah, I don't really care, do you?
I very much doubt he remembered any birthday ever.
Temperance did fall out, so I do want.
Yeah, right.
He's gonna miss Baron's graduation, but he's never been to any of his.
No. It's not Baron. It's Melania's kid from that interview. He didn't even say his kid's name. He was like Melania's kid.
Yeah. Like, I mean, really. But I think Melania is just as weird, and she made a calculation to pick him out of the fetid pool of unattractive millionaires. She chose the man.
And with Johnny,
get her visa.
Do you know what would have upset Melania? If he wanted to do something with her for her birthday, then she'd be upset.
I imagine that as much as he's sleeping and farting in court, she's probably very relieved you wasn't there.
I will say, if you try to get me to be awake at 9 o'clock in the morning I don't know. And to sit in court and I can't do anything or say anything and just sit here, I might nod off too.
Oh, totally.
Like sitting in church.
I would think if I was the one that everything was pointing at, that my adrenaline would keep me awake. Like my anxiety and adrenaline would be like,
he's an air sign. You have to engage him here. And if he's not paying attention, which he never does, he's going to go to sleep.
You're keeping me from my campaign.
But then again, Donald, here's a tip, though. If you want to be awake in the morning, go to sleep at night.
Look,
he probably
get
has
your prescriptions right, love. You know,
he probably
nighttime. Get the special pack. You know,
he probably gets an assistant to buy a birthday card for Melania, and then he redacts stuff out of it with a Sharpie.
Yeah.
So my question, everybody wanted to know, is how did her birthday go? And so, whatever, you can pull one card if you want. And
yes, let's do one.
I got it was fine. I got she was very happy, very optimistic, resting and relaxing, probably at a spa, at a residence somewhere.
You're probably
I don't
right.
know if that would be probably not Mar-a-Lago, but Bedminster, somewhere. It's the property that she's at where she's relaxing. There might be a pool there, relaxing by the pool, resting, relaxing. She was fine. She didn't cry.
Oh no, there's no emotional connection between these people. You know.
No.
What did you get, Jen?
I get that she had plans and that she was feeling quite burdened, so she was doing something to have a growing opportunity to somehow grow her money. Like she's looking into growing her money from work sales from home kind of business. And I get she's like thinking about telling him, pack your bags, you're moving. She's like fed up with the devil.
Yeah, no, I think it's way beyond, any of that. I think was in it for the money at the beginning. She's in it for the money now. How did her birthday go? She spent his money. And you can just see her. I'm going to go to the most expensive spa, and I'm going to go to that's how she thinks. She's a very low vibration individual.
She went shopping.
Let's not dress it up as the tormented wife here.
And she's not buying vermeil necklaces for herself. She's buying the real gold.
mean, if you were married to Donald Trump, that's what you would do is is you would try to just spend that sucker's money, especially since Stormy want his money, Letitia want his money, Karen want his money, Eugene Carroll wants it. Like all these women no, I'm finna go to 2 spas all at the same time.
That's right.
How did it go to the source? She didn't care.
Yeah, couldn't give a flying toss.
Wait, was that a hamburger floating in the air there?
It's either an onion or hazelnut, I think.
Okay, it looked like a hamburger. Like she threw a hamburger at
I
him.
don't know what it is, actually. I'm going to go onion or hazelnut, and they're standing inside of a big giant.
Venus flytrap.
So that's all we got. Thank Linda for joining us.
Thank
Oh,
you.
no, thanks for having me.
Oh,
I had a
hysterics.
great time.
we're on Ro's channel next week.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Sacred Sounds of Coffee announcement one more time.
Friday morning, 10 a.m. on my channel this week with Gail. Mother's Day's coming up. The joy's still in the post office. So if you want to get your card to your mom on time, better be mailing it now.
I'm gonna do all that stuff tomorrow. We went all kinds.
Let me tell you, all my birthday cards were took over 10 days to get to me.
Mm.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
Well,
And
anyway,
it's the same here. Only they charge us like $1 million to not
to
deliver
ship
them.
anything. Mhm. I could have walked
viewers
with them.
say, I'd like to send you something, and I say, thank you, but please, it's better you spend the rent money on the rent, because that's how much it would cost to send an envelope to Australia.
Mhm. Well, that's what y'all get for being at the bottom of the world.
That's our punishment.
Even Santa Claus has trouble getting there.
We have Santa on a surfboard.
Oh, that is true. He can ride the wave. Blue wave. Y'all go out and boat. Make sure you do. Next week will be on Jen's channel. Again, Sacred Sounds of Coffee Friday morning at 10 a.m. on her channel. 10 a.m. Central, right?
Central, yes.
Okay. So we will see y'all then.
Ciao, guys.